Welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Trey. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the show this week. We've got another banger for you this week with our very special guest, wide receiver / quarterback / DB / kick returner / offensive weapon, Rudy Johnson from the San Diego Strike Force. We dive into Rudy's indoor football career, the places he's gone, his stop in the CFL, as well as how he manages to balance a very successful real estate business and playing career at the same time in his hometown of San Diego. So it's a really good conversation. Very excited for you guys to get to listen to it and let me know your thoughts on it. Rudy's a really great guy and does a lot of really cool stuff within the San Diego community, and is one of the few players that can say they sponsor the team that they play for. But we dive into that and a whole lot more in the interview in just a bit. We'll also touch on some IFL topics as well as some AF1 and NAL news that sprouted up over the past week or so. But before we dive into any of that, it's time to plug the socials. That's right. If you don't already, please make sure you're following us on socials at Off the Wall FB, F as in foot, B as in ball, Off the Wall FB. That I'll do better, I promise. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw what just happened. But Off the Wall FB, we're on all the socials. If you're there, we're there. Go check it out. Let me know where you frequent the most on socials. And I know there are some I pay attention to a little bit more than others, and maybe there's some others I need to be paying a little bit more attention to elsewhere. So let me know where you frequent on each of those. But if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribing, liking, all that stuff. Leaving a comment down below about what your thoughts are on the episode, on the interview, some of the moves that were done in some of these leagues, some free agency stuff, some dormancy news that hit this week as well. So let me know your thoughts on everything that's going down in the comments. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you're going to the show page, rating it 5 stars preferably, sharing it with a friend, doing all that stuff there as well. So we got a lot to dive into, but let's hit our interview with Mr. Rudy Johnson right now. All right, on the show this week, we have a Swiss Army knife for the San Diego Strike Force. He's played just about every position imaginable for them over the past couple of seasons. It's Rudy Johnson. Rudy, appreciate you taking the time to hop on the show this week. How have things been on the West Coast?
Oh, great. San Diego living, enjoying the weather and trying to sell some houses around here.
Yeah. What's the weather like on San Diego? Perfect as usual?
Perfect. 72, 73 every day.
I was having a conversation with my wife about weather across the country, and I'm like, apparently it's always perfect in San Diego. Like it's never awful. I don't understand it. Like how is that the one place?
I mean, that's why it's so expensive out here.
True.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, let's dive right into it. Tell us a little bit about your football journey and how you got your start playing indoor football.
For me, I started off first coming out of college. I was an athletic quarterback, and the NFL fell short of that and had some CFL options. I got a call from Dodge City around, I think, 26 years old. From 23 to 25, I was trying to get into the NFL, or I thought I was above indoor football. But around 26, Dodge City called me, and I played for the CIF. And around that time, around 2015, 2016, the CIF was like the thing. This was a popular league, bigger than the IFL, in my opinion, at that time. But playing there, there was some major players there, and I ended up getting Rookie of the Year, and from there had a shot with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders in the CFL, and then got cut, preseason, and after a few years, got picked up with the San Diego Strike Force during COVID year. Got cut again because COVID. Not even get cut; it was just COVID.
Right.
And
yeah.
For the past 3 to 4 years, I've been playing with the Strike Force. It's been amazing. I love this organization.
That's awesome. And what was your first exposure to the indoor game? Was it when you were looking for that opportunity, or were you familiar with it before Dodge City?
I was not familiar with the Arena League. Back then I was young, and it's not as popular as it is now. And all you thought about was NFL or CFL. But now that it's picked up some steam and very popular here in the U.S., now I'm pretty sure more people are aware of it coming out of college. So back then, though, it was just getting off his feet.
Yeah, I think some of the success stories you see about folks, getting that opportunity, and being able to show what they can do has brought a lot more attention to it. So it's a really good thing. And whether like no matter what 3-letter league you're rooting for or watching play, it seems like they're all growing in the right direction. So that's more opportunities for more players. I think it's a cool thing to see.
Amen. Yeah, definitely. And social media has helped influence that a lot. So,
Right.
going on TikTok, a couple of our plays went viral on TikTok. So seeing that, you guys have helped with that, of course.
Yeah.
That's helped grow the league, and a lot of fans are choosing to come out because you don't have the NFL season during that time. So these fans want to go see football, and fast-paced football. So that exposure has helped, definitely.
Yeah, it's such a unique sport, and I just think it's one of those things where if there were more eyeballs on it, if just more people got exposed to it. So that's kind of the reason why we got what we got going on here is like, look, if people just knew, if people just knew about this would be insane. I think one of the most viral clips of the season that I've seen, I think it was might have been that very first game of the season when the Northern Arizona quarterback just got rocked into the wall. I forget who it was. I wish I could remember the lineman who it was, but he got absolutely smoked into that wall. And I saw that clip for months all over social.
Yeah, that one definitely picked up some steam. And we prayers to that quarterback. I know he broke his shoulder during that play, but that one got like hundreds of thousands of views throughout social media. So I think Barstool reposted it. I think Barstool
they did.
Yeah,
yes, so many. It got posted everywhere.
Yeah. Those were my guys. But yeah, they. I think people like the hard hitting, fast pace, and it's high scoring. And NFL is leaning towards that as well, as you can see with flags being thrown and passing all the time. People want fast paced football right now, so it plays right into that in their hands for sure.
Right. And going back to Dodge City with the Dodge City law, what was that experience like living there? Because I'd imagine Dodge City's a little different than San Diego.
Yeah. It was unique, I would say. There's nothing out there, which is great, right? There's pros to that because everybody comes out and watches football. So that was an upside, was everybody knew your name, small town feel, and you could be the hometown hero out there. That was fun. But I mean, when you're talking about anything to do outside of going to the club down the street and getting some in and out, or not even in and out, it was Arby's was the main. So you can either get Arby's or Sonic. I mean, that was it. That's all you could do out there.
Man, what a town. We're going to Arby's or Sonic tonight, boys. Let's go.
I had to. There was no Uber, so this is back. I'm older, so this was 2015. There was no Uber, no Lyft out there, and I had to switch my phone service because I believe AT&T and Verizon didn't exist in that area, so I had to go to T-Mobile. Yeah.
Wow. Town is so small. I had to change my cell phone provider.
Yeah, man. It was what a time, but it was a huge blessing. I met some people, lifetime friends I'm still friends with to this day. Some of my friends from San Diego were on the team with me, so to this day we still talk about it, and we had some great stories to tell. So it was fun.
Yeah. Every time you drive by an Arby's, you point at it, you're like, we running it back? Let's go. Let's go. Well, after that season in Dodge City, you got the call up to the CFL. How did that opportunity come about? Because you played defensive back up there, right?
Yes, yeah. So I played quarterback at Dodge City, and then Mike Davis, he was who is the head coach for the Las Vegas Nighthawks.
Yeah.
Him and the head coach back there, I can't think of his name right now, but he's a huge legendary coach up there right now. They were at a tryout in San Diego, and there was only 20 to 30 people there, and I think I ran like a 4.37. And Mike was like, "Hey man, I was trying to do quarterback," and they were like, "Hey, why don't you try to go to the other side of the ball? Let's see if you could, cover somebody." And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So they were like, just press them and see what you can do. naturally, I was just like locking people up left and right. So from there, they invited me to mini camp, and I started to get coaching into at DB from outside trainers, and I started really, embracing that position. Then from mini camp, I did really well in mini camp. They said, okay, come to camp. And I did great in camp. The thing that happened was I pulled my hamstring because I wasn't used to running. Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That field is huge. You're running all day, you know. And I'm out there with Shaq Evans and all these, NFL guys, former NFL guys. Nick Marshall was playing DB with me.
Yeah.
So you're out there with this elite talent, and you're trying to transition in one position within 3 months. It just was an uphill battle, and pulling that hamstring just took me down under. So, they cut me from there. But obviously, me and Mike, we're still good, and he still talks about it back then. Like, man, you were a pretty good athlete back in the day. So
that's saying something. You were able to not just switch positions, but switch sides of the ball, and still make an impact out there. I didn't realize you hadn't played defensive back before at all up until that point.
Yeah, never. I've never even tried it until then. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm thankful for it. But everything happens for a reason,
Right. Did you play a bunch of different positions, like coming up through Pop Warner in high school, or was it just quarterback up until then?
I was just a quarterback. One of my coaches now, who, like I said, I'm an older guy. He was in high school with me, one of my teammates. He's like, these guys don't even know you were a pocket passer since you were like 4 years old. So I've always been a pocket passing quarterback, but naturally I was athletic, and in college I showed my athleticism a lot. And I think, a lot of people from there, back then, now you see quarterbacks, you want a mobile quarterback, nowadays. But back when I was coming out, the pocket pass quarterback was the style you wanted. So if they saw anything outside of that, they wanted to try to fit you in another position. So it kind of fell into those cracks. And then from there, I started exploring other positions.
I got you. Yeah. So you're a pocket passer who just happened to run a 4.37.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Not too many of those out there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're from San Diego, and when did you find out that San Diego was going to be getting an IFL team? Were you pumped as soon as you heard, or how'd that come about?
Oh, that's a good question. So I found out 2017, I think 2018, they had a team. 2018, I was fresh out of Saskatchewan CFL. And Taylor called me back in 2018, and we discussed it. We talked about it. San Diego wasn't the best back then. We probably one or two games during that time. And my mind was just on other things. I had a daughter on the way and was trying to just financially be in the right position. But me and him stayed in touch until the timing was right. And I think around 2020 was when it was supposed to happen, but COVID happened. And then I took a break. And then 2023 is when we really were like, hey, man, it's just time for us to connect, But it's been brewing up for 4 or 5 years prior to that. So, yeah, it's been a long way.
Yeah, how awesome is it to be a part of a franchise that brought pro football back to your hometown? Obviously, the Chargers left, 9-10 years ago at this point. It's got to be pretty neat to be like, hey, this is my hometown, and I'm playing for the pro team. This is pretty cool.
Oh, I say it all the time, and I mean it. I always wanted to play for the Chargers, so this is as close as I'm going to get, and I love it. I love it, I love our fans. I love our city, and I love that, I feel how the fans felt when the Chargers left. I know how it left a void for football and sports and professional sports here in football. And, I'm just excited as the fans to say, hey, come out to these games and fill that void for you. Here's your San Diego team. Here's your pride. Here's your city. Come represent us and come support us. And a lot of people that go to the game, they love that. And they're like, you know what? I love this. This is as close to the Chargers that we're going to get, So, man, this is a dream come true for me. That's what I would say. It's a dream come true. Honestly.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's like, it's as storybook as you can get.
Yeah,
especially with the growth of the team. It's like, all right, we're not just out there doing cardio. Like, we're winning games too. Like, we're out there competing.
Exactly. And that's why the championship means so much to me. It's not about me. It's not about my resume. It's for the city. I mean, it sounds cliche, but
Yeah.
it's literally for the city of San Diego. I think we will be, if I'm not mistaken, the first professional, I would say, football team in the history of San Diego to win the championship.
There you go.
If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure we would be.
We'll do some research. We'll fact
Let's do
check.
that. Do some research. Something first, let me know.
Well, you've had some really good teams over the past couple seasons and made it to the Western Conference Championship game a couple times, and you had some unbelievable games along the way. Do you have a specific game or a moment from the past couple seasons that kind of stands out from the rest?
Yeah, not really. I think all of them were special to me, but I'll tell you too.
Yeah.
Last year when we beat Bay Area at home, I think that really stood out. That was our first playoff game that we won in franchise history. And you could feel the emotion in the locker room from coaches to the owners to the players of like, wow, we just made history. That was very special to me, to share that with all my teammates and the staff. And I think the second one would be Vegas. We played Vegas this year, and I was in at quarterback during that time in the second half. And I would say this was just my moment. It was like 1 second left, and we were on like the 1 yard line. And like I just jumped over, and we didn't know, right? It was up in the air where the refs were gonna say yes or no.
Yeah.
And they ended up saying it was a touchdown, and we won the game with 0 seconds. And like the whole stadium just ran off, and they were chanting my name. So I feel like that part was, I would say, a moment for me personally. But as for the franchise, the biggest moment with the franchise was last year, the Bay Area winning that first playoff game for sure.
Yeah, it felt like the old the Steve Young, get the monkey off my back. Like we're loose now. We got this. Like we're good to go.
Yeah, and you're seeing us. We're building momentum. I mean, every year we're getting closer. I'm just ready for that home playoff game. I'm ready for the home playoff games for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And that I do remember it when you mentioned that Vegas game. I remember watching that game, and I was like, did he get in?
I know.
It was as close as you could possibly get. And I'm like, there's no good angle saying otherwise. So I guess he's in.
You ask me every time, I got in. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Look, according to the history books, I got in.
That's it. And that's all that counts. Right.
Well, off the field in San Diego, you've been building quite the real estate business. Tell me a little bit about how you got into that and what the growth of that has been like.
So my grandma got me into it when I was 23. Like I said, chasing the NFL dream is very, it's a low percentage. And she always told me, hey, why don't you try this and get into real estate just as a backup plan? It could go well with your chasing your dreams, and career is flexible, it's on your time, it's your business. And I thought, okay, let me just try it out. It's for my grandma, right? And she, hooked me up with this guy. He was a broker at the time, and he just mentored me. I worked part-time under him, and I was getting paid little to nothing, but I gained so much knowledge. And that's when I discovered my second passion was real estate and business. And I really dived into it. That's why there were a lot of breaks in between me playing football and doing real estate, is because I had two passions and I was trying to figure out how to intertwine both. And it took some time, but I got into it with this mentor as far as, getting into real estate. I got my license at 24, and I really just started building my clientele and my business from there. In the beginning, I was under his brokerage, but you grow and you outgrow things. And I ended up moving brokerages a few times. And after 6 or 7 years, I decided, hey, I'm gonna get my own broker's license and start my own company. And then I got my mortgage license. And now we try to keep everything under one umbrella. And then the blessing that came into it was everything came together when I partnered with the Strike Force last year.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, do you want to sponsor the team? And I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. And my vision just came together. It took 10 years, but it was something that was well worth it. And like you said, to be a hometown hero and also have a local brokerage where fans I can also help them build generational wealth. I mean, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. So that's how it's
I got to say, one of the biggest flexes I've ever seen is being able to run a commercial for your own business in a football game that you are playing in. It makes me laugh every time. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I don't think this has ever happened. Like, this is unreal.
I can't take the credit for that. That was our general manager. That was his idea, and he was like, you know what, Wonk, are you okay with us running your, promotion commercial during halftime? I was like, I would love that. So that's why I'm so grateful for this organization, because they've done so much more for me outside of the field than anybody else can. So shout out to them. That was from up top. That was not my idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they gave you a good rate too.
For sure.
They helped you out. They helped you out. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, yes. Another moment that stood out to me this year was that you scored, I forget which game it was, but you ran and posed right next to your logo on the dasher board. And I was like, that's another flex. I'm like, he's just flexing all over us. Did you have that one in your pocket ready to go, or just in the moment you're like, all right, let's do this?
I've always had it in the back of my mind since like 2 years ago, in the back of my mind, but I never felt like the moment. I just always would forget. I'm just like, let's win. But I think we were just up by so much in that moment, and I felt the crowd. They were just ranting and getting loud, and I just like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. This is where I'm gonna make this happen. I was waiting for it. So it just jumped out of me, and that was definitely a candid moment, and something that I could tell my grandkids about, honestly.
The pose with crossed arms leaning against it. I'm like, God, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Definitely.
Well, how challenging is it to balance both passions during the season? Like, you're obviously having to practice, play, travel with the strike force while still keeping tabs and keeping the real estate side of things going strong.
It's challenging. It's always challenging, but anything that's worth your purpose is going to be challenging. But I have a great support system. I'm a single father as well, and I got people around me that help me with my daughter. I got people around me that help me with my business. I have employees in our company, real estate agents, assistants that help me when I can't make it or help me with showings. And then I have a great organization and coaching staff that understands my lifestyle and helps me on that end. So, God has just blessed me with a team around me that helps me on all areas and makes it look easier than it is. But it gets challenging. Sometimes you get overwhelmed and sometimes you feel overworked. But once the season's over and I'm sitting back and I'm thinking back on everything and all the memories, it's always worth it. The hard work is always worth it, and every year I try to make it the vision clearer and bigger and easier for myself by putting the right pieces in place prior to the season.
Yeah, you're certainly not leaving anything on the table. You're doing all that you can to make the most out of all of it, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, one thing that I would say, when I was, getting cut, trying to figure out my dreams, I'll put all my eggs in one basket growing up. It was football or nothing. And I see a lot of these guys, younger kids in their 20s. And once they're around my age, they're trying to figure out, what do I do next? Because your identity is so centered around football. Mm-hmm. And I think that what I feel like I've been blessed with is to show my teammates and even people within this league or outside of the league that you can do both, and you could put your eggs in multiple baskets and let them grow together, so that you don't have just an identity in one thing, because football it's going to end at some point for all of us. It's short-lived, and we don't want to hear it as athletes, but it's necessary for us to hear because life continues to move on, and you don't want to get stuck in that lane. So I feel like I've got a lot of feedback from my teammates that are like, hey man, I love what you're doing. I want to get into this and I want to get into that. Can you show me how I can balance these two things out? And I'm all for it. And that's really what I'm in it for, is to be a mentor in that aspect.
That's awesome. Yeah, football doesn't last forever unless you're Nate Davis. Apparently, he's just gonna play forever and ever and ever, huh?
But that's a legend. That's a goat right there. That's a whole different species. So
Yeah.
that's my guy. He's a legend. Now that guy, I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about football IQ with him, and we call Taylor TG, our head coach. We call him TG. So that's when we give context. With him and TG together, when you got those two brains operating and their IQs, I mean, the way that they see, indoor football, oh my God, you'll learn things that you'll keep for a lifetime. So being around them, I appreciate it so much. And he brings a lot of expert in this game. I mean, this guy's a guru in the indoor football for sure.
Yeah, he's able to pick some defenses apart, and it's like, man, there's nothing defenses can do at certain points. He's just putting it right where he wants it. He's like, I'm just gonna go march down the field. You're not gonna stop it.
He'll see the zone open up before it opens.
Yeah.
And that's scary because you can't stop that. And when I'm out there and I'm running, I'm like, he's not going to see it. He throws it right in the. I'm like, how did this guy see it? But he's so good with his pre-snap and post-snap read. It's like that's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's been doing this for so long. I mean, his IQ, you can't match his IQ. It's through the roof.
Yeah, and it shows. That's part of the reason why those teams over the past couple of years have just been so successful on the field, and looking forward to seeing how it continues going forward. And selfishly, this question's for me. If someone were to do a weekend trip in San Diego, what are some must-do, what are some must-see, must-eat places that you'd recommend?
Oh, man. Okay, well, the beach. You want to go to Mission Beach, Pacific Beach, La Jolla Beach. There's so many beaches out here, but go to all of them, discover them for yourselves. There's so many restaurants. I mean, it depends on what someone wants. If you're looking for, let's say good soul food, go to Louisiana Purchase.
Okay.
If you're looking for Hispanic food, that's everywhere. I mean, you could go. I'll tell you to go to the taco shop near Helix, and you'll get the best rolled tacos of your life.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many. You could go to El Gordo's. That's amazing. Downtown this is like probably the top place when it comes to restaurants. So you can get anything you want out here when it comes to food. I would say places to go, SeaWorld. You want to go to SeaWorld. That's San Diego Zoo. That's huge. You want to go to the museum. Balboa Park is a staple here out in San Diego. Go to a San Diego FC soccer game. That's huge right now. Everybody wants to go there. Come to San Diego Strike Force game. Throw that in there.
Yeah.
Downtown Gaslamp. If you like nightlife, I will go to Gaslamp. Is number one for me, but I like North Park. Has a great nightlife. North Park area is underrated. Pacific Beach has like a strip of bars and good food and good music. I like PB. We call it PB as well. Oceanside area has some good areas as well. I like that. I like the beach up there. So there's two parts of San Diego. You got South County and North County, and it's divided by the 8. The 8 East and the 8 West lets you know whether you're in North County or South County. So if we're talking about North County, Del Mar, you want to go to the Del Mar Fair when that's open. That's usually around July in the summertime. Am I leaving anything out? I'll say that's it for right now. I don't want to bore you.
Yeah, I was about to say this. He's going. Don't stop him. Let him keep going.
I could be a tourist guide out here, but that's it.
You really could. You really could. Yeah, you set up RJ's San Diego tours. Where you go? Start up another one.
There you go.
Business. Yeah,
another business.
Yeah, another one. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time on here. You've got a ton going on, and you're all across socials with all you've got going on. Where can people follow you on socials for your accounts, the real estate, like all that stuff?
Yeah, you can follow my personal account at Rudy Johnson 7. So it's RUDYJOHNSON, the number 7. And then you can follow my real estate account at Broker, BOROKER, Rudy. That's it, just Broker Rudy, and that's with 2 R's in the middle. And my company account is RJ Estate, so it's just at RJ Estate, and that'll be the first one to pop up. But give me a follow on Facebook, on TikTok, as well as Instagram.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll link all those in the description below. So if you're watching on YouTube, scroll down just a hair. It's right there. And if you're listening on Spotify podcasts or Apple Podcasts, it's in the description as well. So one last question before we get you out of here, Rudy. Thank you again for taking the time. What's next? We running it back with the Strike Force next season? Like, where are we thinking?
God willing, I would love to play another season with the Strike Force. I still got some juice left in me. So I'm hoping that that's the next step. I want to get that championship ring like I talked about from the beginning. I think that before I, say this is it for me, I want to get that ring, for the city of San Diego. And the next thing would be to take it another level on the broker side, add a few more realtors, make sure that this thing is just running automatically as the football season goes. And we want to bring more fans up to Oceanside and get us at least a playoff home game. I think that would bring a lot of morale into the Oceanside area and for the city and the organization as well. So those are the next steps. Yes, sir.
Let's go. Keep building. Playoff football in San Diego. That's where we're at. That's what we want.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. Well, take care. Have a great rest of your off season, and we'll connect soon. Okay.
Man, thank you for your time, and I appreciate this. One last thing, you can also go to my website at www.rjstate.com.
Perfect. We'll link that. We'll link that below as well.
Thank you.
It is perfect. All right. Take care, man. Big thanks again to Rudy Johnson for joining the show and talking shop about his career, both on and off the field. He is a bit of a unicorn in the indoor and arena world where, like I said before, before the interview, he's able to sponsor his own team that he plays for, which is pretty dang cool. He's doing a lot of great stuff in the city of San Diego, and it's so cool to hear that being from San Diego and being able to do some of the things that he's been able to do, again, both on and off the field for his city is really special and really cool. So please make sure you give him a follow below in the description and let him know you heard him on Off the Wall. We'll start with the IFL, and we got some good news and bad news. But for starters, the Bay Area Panthers announced this week that they will be entering dormancy for the 2026 season. I think this caught a lot of people off guard. Bay Area was a very, very talented and very successful team on the field for the past 3 years, win the IFL National Championship in 2023 years ago, and just being extremely competitive over the past few seasons. And it looked like things were going well there, but in their statement they released, they cited rising costs, rising venue costs, just a whole medley of errors that are not errors, but a medley of issues that arose and just made it way too difficult for them to operate going forward. And to me, it kind of signals the end of an era. Sounds dramatic, but it's the end of seeing teams try to make it in these big, massive arenas. Like they played in probably the biggest arena in the IFL at the SAP Center in San Jose. That's a 17,000 seat arena where the San Jose Sharks also play. So it's just a massive venue. And when you have a crowd of, if you're lucky, a couple thousand, maybe 1,000 in a 17,000 seat arena, it just looks barren. And it just never really looked great on TV, having those during the regular season. They had a pretty good turnout in the playoffs, but it was always a rough viewing experience crowd-wise for there. And it just makes you think, like, if they had a smaller venue, it's better to, try to pack out a smaller venue than to have a venue that's just entirely too big. And it just wasn't in the cards for them to ever sell out a 17,000 seat arena. It just wasn't. So I think that what you're going to see moving forward with expansion teams and like Fishers, like Vegas, they play at smaller arenas, but they're able to pack it out. They're able to make it a little bit more of a cozy feeling. So I think you're going to continue to see more of those where it's not necessarily the biggest arenas in the world, but they are able to really pack it out, pack out the arenas that they are able to get. And yeah, it sucks to see Bay Area go because they were just such a talented team and great coaching staff leading the way there. And it seemed like things were going well for them over the past few seasons, but hopefully they'll be able to come back in 2027. It's very up in the air. They literally just announced it at the time of recording this today, as I'm recording this. So yesterday when this episode drops, yeah, the staff was told this earlier in the week, and hopefully they'll be able to come back and pick up where they left off in 2027. But I know California is a tough market to be able to operate in from a team perspective. So there's just a bunch of things on the team side of things we probably don't know about, and it's just very expensive to do business out there. But hopefully, like I said, but hopefully Bay Area can come back in 2027 stronger than ever. And um, yeah, it sucks to see, but that's the nature of the indoor and arena game. But for some good news, Coach Mike Davis over in Vegas, he got a 4-year extension fresh off of winning the IFL National Championship in Tucson against the Green Bay Blizzard. Mike Davis is coming back as head coach and defensive coordinator. Curtis Chin signed a 2-year extension not too long ago as offensive coordinator. So it looks like this team has some stability in the coaching staff, and they're looking to build off of the success that they had last year. We'll have to see what pieces come back from that championship team. They resigned a couple of them. Moses Mallory, offensive lineman, was the most notable one there so far. And we'll have to see what type of talent they bring back. And do we see players from other teams jump over to Vegas? Do we see Vegas give some rookies that have never played indoor ball a shot? Do they bring back Jaden DeLaura? Like there's a lot of question marks on the roster, but we're very early in the offseason. But the things that are not question marks are head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator for Vegas. And yeah, they got a good group there. And if last year was any indication of what this squad is able to do, you can look for them to be very competitive yet again, and hopefully making another run at a national championship team, just because they were very talented and very fun to watch down the stretch. But Vegas also made a move, trading away one of their key defensive players to Tulsa. They traded away defensive lineman Claude Davis from Vegas to Tulsa, gets a new start with the Tulsa Oilers. And Claude Davis has been a veteran of the indoor game for a long time now. He gets paired up with the great Marvin Jones on that defense. So that defense is going to continue to be talented, especially if they're able to bring back some pieces from last year, like the mayor, Trey Harvey. Big shout out to him, former guest of the show. Bring him back at the linebacker / DB flex position. Tulsa is always going to have a very good defense, but with Billy back running the offense now, it could be an opportunity to pick up where they left off, and where last season they really turned the page with Andre Coles as offensive coordinator. He's now head coach in Iowa. Billy back can kind of pick up where Andre Coles left off, and I'm sure he'll bring in some of his guys on the Tulsa offense, and we'll have to see how that works out. But some early movement. You usually don't see trades in this early in the offseason. You might typically see them a little later in the offseason, in the preseason, as some last minute roster moves are made, and some, maybe I wanted this guy instead of this guy, some of those types of swaps. But yeah, Claude Davis finds a new home in Tulsa. But a couple guys that will not be finding new homes because they re-signed with their team are in San Diego. They really reloaded with some of the players they had from last season. Ernesto Lacayo, friend of the program, Arthur Jackson III, Royce C., Ed Vander, Wallace Cowens, and a few more, 9 total, all re-signed with the Strike Force, seemingly on the same day. At least they were announced on the same day. But they re-signed with the Strike Force and looking like they're going to run it back with that core group that they had there. And for good reason, right? They made it all the way to the Western Conference Championship game, and they were one overtime period away from potentially making it to the national championship game in Tucson. They lost on a tush push to Vegas, and Vegas then won the national championship by stopping a tush push. So it's funny how that worked out. But San Diego's made it to the Western Conference Championship 2 years in a row now, and looking for ways to get over the hump. And we'll have to see, does our guy Rudy Johnson resign? I hope so. I feel like it's a good fit for all parties involved. Do we see Nate Davis make another run at it? There's a lot of different ways they can go with the way they can build this roster. But some of the folks that they re-signed, I'm a massive fan of Ed Vander at running back. I think he's the best running back in all of indoor football right now. And he's getting a full season of him in San Diego is going to be fun to watch. So San Diego reloaded, and I'm sure we'll see a few more splash signings here very, very soon. Jumping over to the NAL now, the first thing to touch on there is they teased a show on 9/23/25 for their Inside the Walls official, unofficial NAL podcast. Not sure what the language is there, but It seems like that's when they're going to do a little schedule release show of some type. They've already hinted at some early season matchups on the NAL socials. March 14th, we've got the Amarillo Warbirds facing the Sioux City Bandits. We've also got the Pueblo Punishers facing the Omaha Beef on that same day. But then on March 7th, the week before, we got the Amarillo Warbirds again facing the Louisiana Rougarou. And then we got the Pueblo Punishers facing the Colorado Spartans in a little Colorado clash. I don't know. I'm sure they'll come up with some fun name for it. But they're teasing some early season matchups, and I'm sure next week around this time we'll have a glimpse at what the full schedule will look like. They mentioned, or they meaning Commissioner Brandon Eichert, mentioned on that Inside the Walls not too long ago, a couple weeks back, that they anticipated having the schedule out by mid-September. And that's around now, and that's around the time that they have been teasing for that show. I'm assuming it's a schedule release, but that's me making broad assumptions. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But schedule should be coming out soon, and two teams you can expect to see on the schedule, like we talked about last week, the Salina Liberty and Southwest Kansas Storm, expected to be announcing that they're joining the NAL on Friday, September 19th, which is probably why the schedule release got pushed back a little bit and gave them some time to make those official announcements and whatnot. But regionally, it makes a ton of sense for both of these Kansas teams to be able to join the NAL. It's much more regionally friendly. You look at Southwest Kansas, not a terrible drive over into Colorado, into Denver to face the Colorado Spartans, over to Pueblo to face the Pueblo Punishers, and then on the opposite end, Salina, it's not a bad drive for them to get to a couple different spots and renew that old rivalry from the CIF with the Omaha Beef. So, expect both of them to be announcing that they're going over to the NAL, departing the AF1 after 1 year with the AF1 and another year in the AFL. Hopefully, we start to see some stability league-wise with Salina and with Southwest Kansas moving forward. It just makes too much sense for them regionally to be able to make the switch. And I know their travel costs are going to drop dramatically because they're not having to fly to Washington, fly to Albany, fly to Nashville. They're not having to do any of that stuff. So, it should be a win for all parties involved. And we'll just anticipate more and more getting announced schedule-wise, roster-wise with all these teams very, very soon. The last thing we're going to touch on today is the AF1 free agency opened up on Monday night, and we had a wave of signings occur since then. We'll just go team by team here. Kentucky, basically building a Billings Part 2 with Cedric Walker coming over from Billings this offseason. We've got wide receiver Darius Prince, Jamez Kimbrough at center, friend of the program, Terrence Ames on the offensive line, and Sean McFarland all coming over from Billings. Dalton Oliver, who played with Nashville and Wichita, I believe, in 2024 and last year in Nashville, coming over with some arena experience. And then Shiloh Flanagan, one of the best names and best stories in arena football last year, is coming over from Southwest Kansas to play for Kentucky. So Shiloh Flanagan and Darius Prince out there running routes with Sean McFarland running the ball. It's going to be a very fun squad, and look for them to pick up where Billings left off last year, where Billings started really rough, but got off to a strong ending of the season, just barely missed the playoffs. Hopefully they can pick up where they left off last year, and the Kentucky Barrels can be instant competitors, and it's looking like they will be with the roster that they're building and with some of the pedigree of players that they're bringing in. But another team that's bringing in some really, really great players is Nashville. The Nashville Cats signed this week Desmond Maxwell from Albany, played linebacker last year, and then Derek Jones as well from Albany. Derek Jones played in Nashville in 2024, came over to Albany in 2025, and then is going back to Nashville for 2026. Makes sense for him. I'm pretty sure he's from the Southeast, so it's a little bit closer to home for him in particular. He went to Ole Miss, so probably should have looked up exactly where he's from and where he's living at now, but I'm sure it's close. And then the biggest signing you can make the case so far this week for any team is wide receiver Malik Honeycutt, friend of the program, coming over from the Salina Liberty, where he just absolutely exploded last year in the final 8-9 games of the season. He was just unbelievable, all arena player last year in the AF1, and he was going on a tear. It seemed like every game he was catching for 100 yards and 3-4 touchdowns. and just went on and like he was just so good last year. And you pair him up with Tyler Kolka on offense this year, and that's going to be such a fun combination. And this Nashville team is looking like it's going to be very, very good. And regionally, you look at Nashville, you look at Kentucky, they're probably going to play each other 3 times at least. And those 2 teams are looking really, really good. So if those 2 teams are playing each other 3 times, those are going to be must-see matchups every single time. It's going to be very fun to watch. So I'm excited to see when the schedule comes out for those and see what dates we can circle on the calendar. But Albany has been a little quiet, a little quieter than I thought they would be at this point. They did make some re-signings, bringing back Darian Townsend from last year at wide receiver, signing Akeem Smith and Cheesy Umun. God, almost got it. Cheesy Umunakwe. I'm leaving that in. Cheesy Umunakwe as well. I'm resigning some folks from last year, and we'll have to see if they make any more splash signings from players that have been around in the arena game over the past few years. Last year, they loaded up on a ton of veteran talent. We'll have to see if they do the same thing this upcoming season, or do they go a different route? Because last year's roster, I could tell you, was not cheap for them to bring in with the caliber of player that they had. But you look at Sam Casanova, you look at Dwayne Brown, you look at Isaiah Scott. They're all getting the shot in the UFL. So maybe we'll see some young guns come in and get a shot, and see if Coach Damon Ware can recreate some of that 2025 magic with a younger group of players. And it's gonna be interesting to see how the Firebirds roster continues to take shape from here. But last thing we're going to touch on is a team that we talked about a lot last year. It's the Washington Wolfpack. Washington Wolfpack have had a pretty strong offseason so far, and especially at the wide receiver position. Mo Strong, a friend of the program, and JoJo Olabryce coming over as free agents and signing with Washington. And we've already got Akil Greer at wide receiver too, so that's a strong trio of wide receivers to be out there, especially with Mo Strong and Akil Greer, both very tall, big targets for whatever quarterback ends up taking the reins in Washington. They also signed Ahmad Butler in the defensive secondary, and then Michael Badejo was a very, very good player in the arena circuit who was slated to play with the Arizona Bandits last year, ended up going to Europe after that Bandit situation dissolved, did pretty well playing in, I forget which league it was. I want to say it was German or Austrian, but played really, really well over there and is coming back stateside. And Washington's making the right individual pieces, the individual moves for pieces to field a really talented roster, especially compared to years past. Just going to come down to ultimately who's playing at that quarterback position, and the ingredients are there. Do they have a straw that can stir the drink? And if they can find that straw at quarterback to stir the drink and make everything work, I've been really looking forward to having a talented Washington team, and this might be the year that we start to see it. But again, a lot is still to be determined at this point, and more is to come as these rosters continue to fill out. But the last thing we're going to talk about is the details on the Michigan expansion team. Don't have anything specific for you guys. I wish I did, but I would expect it to be announced soon, hopefully sooner than later, because as we just mowed through a whole list of free agents that were getting snatched up by other teams, the well's drying up pretty quick for Michigan. So we really don't know anything about this team, and all these flagship players from the past couple seasons of arena football are all getting snatched up. So it's looking like Michigan's going to have a young team, maybe a more unorthodox roster than some of the rest of the league. And hopefully we hear something soon. What I've been hearing from various people is that it's sounding like the team might be based in Kalamazoo, which would be very fun for our friends over at the World of Football. But that's just speculation at this point, not exactly locked in. But yeah, we'll see how all that works out, and we'll have to see what the team name's going to be. Are they going to be branded as Michigan? Are they going to be branded as Kalamazoo? Are they going to be branded as we know absolutely nothing, and it's frustrating, especially for someone that talks into a microphone about this on a weekly basis. I wish we had more to talk about, but hopefully our friends over at the AF1 will share some information a lot sooner than later. And that's the show. A lot that we dove into with all the different leagues, but I'm sure as soon as I hit post on this episode, there's going to be more stuff being announced. And like I said, Friday's going to be a big day for Salina and Southwest Kansas as they make their announcements, and the picture starts to get a little bit more clear moving forward. And with Bay Area going dormant, what does that mean for the IFL? There's the whole Massachusetts Pirates situation where will they, won't they move? There's a lot up in the air and a lot to be determined. But it's that's what makes arena and indoor football exciting for the niche that it is, where there's a lot of moving parts, but also frustrating at the same time, where the lack of stability is a detriment to the growth of the sport as a whole. So hopefully some of the changes that we're experiencing now, we don't continue to experience year after year moving forward. But historically, that has proven to be incorrect. But hey, a guy can hope for the best. But big shout out to Rudy Johnson for hopping on the show yet again and really talking through his journey and giving some great recommendations on things and stuff to do and see and eat in the city of San Diego. So if you ever go to San Diego, you try any of the things that Rudy mentions, drop a comment here. Let me know what you think of some of those things. And please make sure you're following Off the Wall on all of our socials at Off the Wall FB, F as in foot, B as in ball, Off the Wall FB. We're on Instagram, X/Twitter, TikTok, all the things and stuff. Go give us a follow on there and join the conversation. Love chopping it up with y'all. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking the video, leaving comments, all that stuff. Every bit of interaction helps. And we just had a really good Turf Tapes stream with the folks over at the New Mexico Chupacabras, GM Tim Smith and head coach Kyle Moore Brown. Watched an old Indiana Firebirds game where Tim Smith was the mascot for the Indiana Firebirds and Kyle Moore Brown was the starting center, and just all-around Iron Man, playing in 236 straight games in the original AFL on both sides. And just an absolute warrior. And I was getting fired up just talking to Coach about indoor and arena football. And it feels like if they can get off to a strong start over in New Mexico, good things are going to happen. But go check out that episode of the Turf Tapes. Let me know what you think as well. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you're rating the show 5 stars, sharing the episode with a friend, all those things and stuff. Like I said, every bit counts when it comes to growing this thing out and making this thing as big and awesome as it can be. What else do I got? T-shirts. People have been asking about T-shirts, and I know I've been dropping the ball a little bit on that, but we've got T-shirts ordered, and we'll be putting them up for sale on the Off the Wall website, so offthewallfb.com. We'll be posting those for sale probably towards the end of the month, maybe in first week of October. But as soon as those are up there, we'll let you know on socials. Got a decent size run, but I'm sure we'll have to do a reorder here soon. So like I said, a lot of people have been messaging me about getting the shirts ordered and all that stuff. So I appreciate the love and appreciate the motivation to get that stuff ordered, and we can really start to be moving and grooving through the merch world. And so hopefully we made it through this episode without any cease and desist letters being sent. I know those are just running rampant in the arena football coverage world right now. If you know, you know, wink, wink. But there's only 24 hours in a day. The fact that you chose to spend about an hour and change listening to Off the Wall today, listen to our conversation with Rudy, means a lot, and it's really cool to see the support. So appreciate you watching, appreciate you listening, appreciate you following along, and let me know what you think of the different off-season moves in the comments. Come join the conversations on socials, and have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.